Well, welcome back to Life on Cars. Hope you're all well. And in today's video, we're going to be doing some front suspension checks, having a look around the components and seeing what we need to look for safety, wear and tear. So I really hope you enjoy the video. Let's go. So the first part of any suspension checks is actually doing some checks with the wheel on. And you'll see mechanics do this if you watch them when they're doing an MOT or if they're checking for any problems with suspension. So what they'll do is they'll get hold of the wheel at sort of the 1/4 and 1/4 positions, or the 9 o'clock and the 3 o'clock position. And they'll actually just see if there's any free play left or right, and they're looking for any small amounts of free play. And then if they're happy that that's fine, they then change to 12 and 6 o'clock and do the same again, and they're trying to rock the wheel. Now on my car, we're absolutely solid. That's good news. And there's no free play left to right either. Now if there was, when the wheel's off, you'd be obviously looking a bit closer to what some of those causes might be, which I'll talk about. But what you could do, if you did feel free play left to right or up and down, is you could ask somebody else to come and move find the free play while you lay underneath with a torch, and you can get hold of like your track rod end or a bottom ball joint, and you'll be able to feel if there's movement. You'll feel it clunking through the suspension when you've got your hand on it. So sometimes it's a two-person thing. If I felt some movement there and I wanted to try and identify it a bit better, I might ask someone else to come along and work that free play while I look underneath the vehicle. But anyway, that all feels fine. So we're going to take the wheel off now and do some visual inspections. So once you've done that left, right, up, down wiggle test with the wheel on and everything feels okay, it's down to some visual checks now. So I've whipped the wheel off, and as you can see there, I'm starting at the top. So I'm having a good look at the strut top and the rubber and everything and the spring, and that's looking nice and clean, and the spring looks to be fine, and the rubber boot behind the spring is fine as well. So the next thing I'm starting to look at is that top wishbone, and I'm paying particular attention to the rubber boot, which, as you can see, looks to be in perfect condition on my car. And then I'm going to have a close look at the bushes that are in the wishbone. So I'm looking for any cracks around these bushes, both on the left side and on the right side as well. So you've got to have to get in there with a torch, get your head up there and have a good look at these wishbone bushes. And again, mine are looking in good condition. It's quite clean, isn't it, up the top there, for an old car. There's no signs of trapped dirt or anything like that. And yeah, that top wishbone and the bushes are looking pretty good. Just getting an extra light in there so you can see that one on the right hand side. So yeah, it's looking in really good condition, that one. So let's move down a bit. So starting off at the front, so you can see the anti-roll bar, which is quite a substantial looking anti-roll bar, really thick. And then we have this really strong looking, quite a big forward bush here. So again, it's about getting in with the torch, having a look for any signs of splits or any delamination on this bush. And again, mine's looking pretty good. Excuse me. And then I'm following this along until I see the ball joint. And again, I'm looking for any problems with the ball joint boot here. And again, it's looking pretty good on this car. As you can see there, absolutely no signs of any cracking or perishing on that component. And then just underneath that, you can see the anti-roll, the bottom arm. Again, quite a strong looking bottom arm ball joint. And I'm looking at the boot all the way around 360 degrees, just to make sure that that boot is in good condition, it's not split. Now on the other side, we can see the anti-roll bar link rod, which is an aluminium link rod. And again, just a visual inspection around the boots, top and bottom, make sure everything's looking intact, which it is on this. And now we can see our bottom arm, which is this fella. It's the next one we're going to inspect. We're going to have a look at the bush where it goes into the front cross member here. So yeah, you can have a better look at the bush if you get just underneath and get a light up. You can see it there. Check both sides, so you can see where that bolts into the front subframe, which I've just covered in wax oil for another video that's coming soon to Life on Cars. What else can we see here? Is our little level sensor for the headlights. It's a little sensor that attaches to the bottom arm, and you can see it there. Moves up and down with the suspension. That's a bit of a shot of it. Also, while I'm laid on my back, I can see, so we were looking at the top of this lower arm before, and we can see the condition of the ball joint and rubber here, which is worth checking for splits. It's quite a complicated little setup actually on the front here. So we've got the upper wishbone up there. Then we have this big arm that comes down that forms part of the front hub assembly with the bearing, etc. All aluminium. Great big anti-roll bar. The strut itself. Then there's this arm here which goes and mounts in the subframe here at the front. Then there's the bottom arm which mounts a subframe here, and then it's attached via a ball joint, and so it's basically two ball joints attached. So that's attached to the hub via a ball joint here, and then there's another ball joint which is for this arm, and then not forgetting the anti-roll bar link rod. Yeah, so there's a fair bit to look at and check on the front of the Jag. That's just the bottom of the strut there, bit of flaky rust on the bottom of there, but yeah, it's looking really good. All the suspension components are looking really good on this. So the last couple of components to mention for your front suspension checks, you've got this arm here. Now this is your steering rack. So this is the steering rack, what they call the steering rack end, and there's a boot on there which needs checking for splits, because that's an MOT failure if that boot is split. That screws into this, which is the track rod end, which, as you can see, because it's gone rusty, is a steel component. It's so most of the components are alloy on the suspension. See the side, the bottom arm there, and where the strut bolts in. But the track rod end is steel. So what do we need to be looking at that? Well, we know there's no play because we've done our left to right checks with the wheel on. So it's just a case of looking at the boot and making sure there's no splits or grease coming out. And again, this one's looking fine. So yeah, you can do all those checks when it's worth doing when the wheel's off, just to have a glance around at your bushes and your boots, and just make sure that nothing's split or showing signs of wear. So I'm going to do that on the other side of the car while I've got the wheels off, and I've been doing the subframe wax oiling and things. And so yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you, just a few inspections that you can do on the suspension. Well, like I said at the start of the video, we'd need to look into it further if, when we did our wheel checks with the wheel on, top and bottom, left and right, if we did feel some free play, then we would need to inspect further and find out what was causing it. You know, the main culprit for left and right, like I said at the start of the video, would be track rod end, and then main culprit for up and down play would be bottom ball joint, or on this car it could be caused by that top wishbone ball joint wearing out. Worst case scenario as well for free play is a wheel bearing. But to be honest with you, these modern wheel bearings, if you've got to a point where there's free play in the bearing, it must be absolutely howling. You may remember when we did the rear wheel bearings on this, there was no play at all or in my rear wheel bearings, but they were on the last legs. So yeah, if you've got one with free play, it's about ready to drop out. So there we go. So obviously, while you've got the wheel off, it's a good opportunity to give the inside of the wheel a bit of a polish and check for any damage, any cracks and things like that. And you've also got an opportunity to check all your brakes as well, your discs and things, and your pads. You can have a look while the wheel's off and see if everything looks to be in good order. I'll put a link in the video, in the information part of the video, just to another video of mine where I go into brake checks in a little bit more detail. Remember, after you've refitted your wheel and the wheel's back on the ground, that the wheel nuts will need torquing up. Now, if you don't have a torque wrench and you're not sure that you've done them tight enough, you could always run the car down to the nearest tyre depot and ask them to use a torque wrench and torque the wheel nuts up properly. Well, I hope you got something out of that, and maybe you fancy having a look at that on your own vehicle just for peace of mind, or just to do some checks before it goes in for an MOT or something like that. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also if you're new to the channel, then please check out all the playlists to do with the Jaguar XK, and we have other playlists for other vehicles, Japanese cars, quick fixes, things like that. So have a look around, see what you like, and if you do like, please give us a subscribe. That would be fantastic. And then we'll see you again next time on Life on Cars. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye now. Bye bye.